Half a dozen days to go now, President Biden is stepping in it. In a big way last night, the insult that might undermine Kamala Harris's closing argument. We'll get to all of it right now on a Wednesday. Midweek, I'm Bill Hemmer. Good morning from New York.
Good morning. Good morning. I'm Dana Perino, and this is America's Newsroom. It is October 30th, so this could be the October surprise. Who knows? Maybe. I'm sure she didn't love it. So Vice President Harris spoke in front of a crowd of what they say is 75,000 people last night in D.C., but it's this remark by President Biden on a campaign call that stole her spotlight.
And just the other day, a speaker at his rally called Puerto Rico a floating island of garbage. Well, let me tell you something. I don't know the Puerto Rican that I know, or Puerto Rico where I'm in my home state of Delaware. They're good, decent, honorable people. The only garbage I see floating out there is his supporters. His demonization of seen as unconscionable, and it's un-American. It's totally contrary to everything we've done.
Then there was instant reaction on the stump from the former President Donald Trump. He was at a rally in real time, Allentown, Pennsylvania. Here we go. Roll it.
Well, I wasn't going to say anything, but I have breaking news for you, Mr. President. You may not have heard this. Just moments ago, Joe Biden stated that our supporters are garbage. He's talking about everyday Americans who love their country and want to dream big again and support you, Mr. President.
That's terrible. So you have, remember Hillary, she said deplorable, and then she said irredeemable, right? But she said deplorable, that didn't work out. Garbage, I think, is worse, right?
The vice president has not yet reacted, but her running mate was asked about it just a few minutes ago.
Did it step on the vice president's message?
Well, the president's clarified his remarks, but let's be very clear. The vice president and I have made it absolutely clear that we want everyone as a part of this. Donald Trump's divisive rhetoric is what needs to end.
How's this going to fly? Marc Thiessen has analysis in a moment. First, to the trail we roll. Bryan Llenas reports on the Harris campaign. He's live in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. Tomlinson reports from the White House, where they are in damage control with a capital D right now. Lucas, good morning. We begin there.
Well, they sure are, Bill. Good morning. It was just over a week ago when President Biden said he wanted to lock Donald Trump up. And now White House spokesman is replying to these allegations of garbage and to his supporters, saying, quote, the president referred to the hateful rhetoric at the Madison Square Garden rally as garbage. And despite the White House pushing back, even one of the administration's closest allies said the following.
Well, I think President Biden will decide what he wants to say. It's certainly not words that I would choose, and I think it's important that we remain focused on the contrast between Kamala Harris and Donald Trump and not attacking supporters of either candidate.
As Dana mentioned last night, the attention was supposed to be on Kamala Harris. Her campaign says up to 75,000 people packed the ellipse right here next to the White House to listen to her closing argument.
It is time to stop pointing fingers. We have to stop pointing fingers and start locking arms. It is time to turn the page on the drama and the conflict, the fear and division. It is time for a new generation of leadership in America.
And here's former President Donald Trump yesterday.
We're going to save America. We have no choice. It's the greatest there is. We love it, and we're going to save it. Her message has been a message of hate and division, and my message is about saving our economy, securing our border, bringing together the greatest and broadest coalition in American history.
Senator Tom Cotton wants Harris to condemn Biden's remarks. There's no plans for President Biden to campaign with his vice president. Of course, the last time they were together on the campaign trail, guys, was back around Labor Day. No. Dana, Bill?
See if that changes. Doesn't look like it right now. Thank you, Lucas. Nice to see you. Dana.
And from D.C., let's go to Bryan Llenas. He's in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania with the Harris campaign. Good morning.
Dana, good morning. Well, former President Trump's closing messages, Vice President Kamala Harris broke it, and he will fix it. The VP's closing message is, well, Trump divided Americans, and she will unify the country. Last night, in front of tens of thousands of people, as you just saw, she had that message at the Ellipse in Washington, D.C., the exact spot where Trump spoke on January 6th, moments before the U.S. Capitol riot. Now, Harris said she wanted to remind Americans of who Trump really is, and she did it last night using stark and alarming language.
They didn't do that, only to see us submit to the will of another petty tyrant. We are not a vessel for the schemes of wannabe dictators. This is someone who is unstable, obsessed with revenge, consumed with grievance, and out for unchecked power.
Now, despite those attacks, Harris said if elected, she will be the one that can bring Trump supporters and Harris supporters together. Now, the campaign says Harris's message was meant for undecided voters, including moderate Republicans who supported former presidential candidate Nikki Haley. Haley is campaigning in Philadelphia's suburbs today with Republican Senate candidate Dave McCormick. Last night, Haley on Special Report criticized Harris's focus on January 6th.
The fact that she goes back to January 6th, people know how they feel about January 6th. What they're living right now and what they're deciding on is whether they want another 4 years like the 4 years they just lived.
Haley said last night the last time she spoke to Trump was back in June, but she remains on standby if the campaign wants to utilize her. Harris will have 3 rallies today in North Carolina, Wisconsin, and here in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, where the Senate race and presidential race are both toss-ups.
You're
Dana?
right in the thick of it, Bryan. Llenas, thank you.
Yes, indeed. Marc Thiessen joins us now. Marc, good morning to you. Shades of 8 years ago, right? Here was the comment. By the way, I think this was in September of 2016. We're late October right now, 6 days out, and here we go. Check it out, Hillary Clinton.
You could put half of Trump supporters into what I call the basket of deplorables. Right? The racist, sexist, homophobic, xenophobic, Islamophobic, you name it.
Listen, the Trump team jumped on that. The White House was spinning wildly. So the media and the Harris campaign has run with this comment from a comic who was on stage 5 hours before Trump was in the building for 3 days now.
Yeah.
I don't know what they do with this, but this is a sitting president. And as Politico wrote this morning, meanwhile, sitting about 1,000 feet behind her in the White House, President Joe Biden was busy undoing all the message that was on the stage that Harris was trying to communicate. Where does it go? Is there an impact?
Well, keep in mind, this is the president who said in his inaugural address that he was going to put his whole soul into uniting the country. Just a month ago, or a couple months ago after the first assassination attempt, he said he called on both sides to tone down the rhetoric. And now he's calling, not Hillary Clinton said half of Trump supporters were deplorables. He's calling all Trump supporters garbage. And he's stepping on the unifying message of Kamala Harris, who was standing outside in the Ellipse, and she called Trump a wannabe dictator, a petty tyrant who is unstable, obsessed with revenge, consumed with grievance, and out for unchecked power. So, you know, that was the unifying message that he stepped on by going even further and calling all the people, 74 million people who voted for Trump last time, garbage. That's quite a way to unite the country.
And what about the media's response?
Well, I mean, it's fascinating. They spent, as Bill said, 3 days obsessing about a insult comic who said something, an idiot who said something really, really stupid. And now the president of the United States goes out and says the same thing about all Americans, and they're trying to walk it back for him. You know, if you look at some of the press coverage last night, they took the garbage quote and said that he was saying it about their rhetoric. You know, about their Trump supporters' rhetoric. No, he said it about all Trump supporters, and the White House put an apostrophe at the end of it and said that as if to suggest that that's not, he really wasn't saying what he actually said, which, by the way, is just, a violation of their ethical and legal responsibilities to accurately record what the president actually says for history. And the media just goes ahead and just replays that. They're going to bury this. They're not going to be talking about this tomorrow. This was just a gaffe. It's another Biden, old Biden, who's not on the ballot anymore, saying, stepping in it, and we're just going to move on. But insult comic, Mark, we're going to talk about that for 3 days.
Trump may have already gotten himself another closing argument and closing statement. At 12:30 in the morning, he put out this: "You can't lead America if you don't love the American people." Now, imagine the ad with him serving fries at McDonald's. Okay, then he goes on to say, "I'm proud to lead the biggest, broadest, most important political coalition in American history." That's all he's got to say for the next 6 days.
Yeah, I mean, one of the most unattractive political characteristics there is contempt. Right? People throw insults at each other. They call people names. She's closing with calling him a Nazi and a fascist, and by extension, calling all the people in Madison Square Garden fascists, because they compared that to the Nazi rally. They showed pictures on all these shows of people standing with their arms in the air with the Hitler salute, comparing everybody in that room to those people, including apparently the people with Israeli flags. But when you have contempt, people feel that. And the Democrats, Biden and Harris, have contempt for half of America. And Trump is right. You can't lead the country when you have contempt for half the country.
Can I get a quick thought from you about the location of Harris's speech last night? Because you're a speechwriter, so you wrote the words, but the venue is also very important. So she's talking in D.C., just 1,000 feet from where the president said this.
Yeah, she's trying to evoke January 6th because, look, here's the problem she has. Nobody is voting for Kamala Harris. No one knows who she is. She's the silent, partner of Joe Biden for the last 4 years. She didn't run in a primary. She didn't debate. She didn't put out a platform. She's generic Democrat that they found to swoop in when Americans discovered that they had been lying about Biden's cognitive decline for all these years after the debate. And so they just inserted her. Nobody is going out there. Even her most staunch supporters are going out there because they think Kamala Harris is the person to lead this country. It's all to stop Trump. And so her entire closing argument is a desperate call to say we can't allow Nazis and fascists to come into our country and take over our country. And so the venue was intended to send that message. And it's a desperate argument.
Thank you, Mark. I wonder how long it takes for Trump to get on the back of a garbage truck. I mean, we may see that by this weekend. Thanks for coming back. All right, we'll talk soon. Marc Thiessen.
I'm Steve Ducey.
I'm Bryan Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.